Thanks, Sean. Welcome again, everyone, for joining our webinar today. And as Sean mentioned, we're going to be highlighting the new capabilities in the Yokohama release for SPM. In terms of a little bit more detailed agenda, some of the core things we'll be focusing on is strategic planning, portfolio planning workspaces, the new financial summaries page. We'll also be talking about the new digital product lens and the associated capabilities with that. We'll highlight some minor updates to the resource management workspace. We'll highlight the securing projects, new capability, as well as the new project checklist. So if you might have attended our last couple of webinars, there's been a lot of new capabilities been deployed by ServiceNow, which has been fabulous around the project workspace, resource management workspace, and strategic planning. So this time it seems to be a smaller set of enhancements, but now they're working on a few other larger things. I'm sure they'll be coming out probably in the next release. So that's going to be our focus here, is those new items. Next, we'll highlight briefly some of our reporting solutions and some of the updates we have there. I'll highlight then, if we have some time, some of the implementation roadmaps. And that's kind of for existing customers that have already been using SPM. We do have roadmaps for brand new customers as well. And then just to highlight our upcoming webinar, we know many of our customers are looking to migrate to the new workspaces for strategic planning or for resource management or project management. And so we have some proven approaches that we've been helping customers migrate to those new solutions in an expedited fashion. So that's for our agenda today, and look forward to walking us through our webinar. Those of you that haven't been introduced to Results Positive before, we are a consulting organization focused on helping organizations optimize their investments and their overall business outcomes related to their software investments. And primarily that's around strategic portfolio management, project portfolio management, also around the ServiceNow's enterprise architecture at portfolio management, as well as service management, with ServiceNow being our strategic partner. As Sean mentioned, we've been providing these type of services for customers for over 20 years and feel like we have a strong set of expertise and capabilities and even solutions to help customers really right-size and optimize their overall business results. So I'm going to jump in here to highlight some of the updates. I'm going to go through some slides. I'll do a little bit of demonstration in the solution. Then I'll come back and go through the slides from a roadmap perspective. So from a strategic planning workspace, there's a new digital product lens. And so this new digital product lens, and I can't remember exactly which license this is for. So standard or professional, so I'll definitely use that as a follow-up. But here with this lens, gives you the ability to manage product enhancements or product ideas and epics. And the digital product that's being used here is the application model associated to Agile projects. So those of you that have been using Agile development, within that capability, there's a product table there. And so that's the products that are managed here under digital product. There's another product lens that you've probably seen before. And so that's the product table coming off of the CMDB. And so that, say for an example, be your software models as an example, as well as your hardware models. So that's slightly different. So the next thing here to highlight in terms of this new lens, it allows you to really kind of look at managing product enhancements that are tied to various product features. And so what makes this a little different is that you're able to manage these product enhancements, which are a record natively here in Strategic Planning Workspace. And they aren't officially a planning item, but you can see here that you can see them on the roadmap. They don't have all the standard capabilities for planning items, such as scoring associated with it, even the planning states are not there, but you can add it to the overall roadmap here by scheduling it, thereby putting in the start and end dates. If you want to just have an overall inventory and roadmap of product enhancements. Next here, the other option when you set up your portfolio planning lens, here you can decide that you want to select product ideas and epics as your planning items. And so this would be related to a specific product. And this allows you for the core capabilities. So it allows you to do scoring using the scoring frameworks. So you can score those product ideas and epics. So you can do that, as well as then as a result of that, you can use the planning state to put those in new, in review, or prioritized planning states. And those of you that are familiar or not familiar with the planning items here, you need to put those in the prioritized state to add those to the overall roadmap. So that's the capabilities there. Next here, I wanted to talk a little bit about the new financials page. So they have the new financials page here in the portfolio planning workspace. And so then you can look at across your demands, projects, and epics. You can look at the financial roll-up here across those items. And so to me, this is probably one of the first steps prior to adding that capability into the scenario planning. So I see that coming up in the next couple releases. But this allows you to have that roll-up of your financial costs and benefit information. Then you can monitor your budgets here. You can also then look at your benefit plans as well. So we'll kind of highlight that in the demonstration, but you now have a new financials page to accompany the capacity planning page, which was released in one of the previous version updates. So those of you that are focused more on financials, this will be beneficial as you start to understand the financial costs here across your different prioritized demands and projects and epics. The next here, if we look at some of the resource management workspace in enhancements, so some rather simple enhancements here really gives the resource manager or those using the workspace the ability to kind of understand the source of the resource assignments and be able to get into the resource assignment details. So they can do that by opening the resource assignment itself, which is really the specific allocation to a specific resource. Or you can open the parent or the overall resource assignment record and then drill into it from there. And so that's what you can do here in the resource management workspace. Those of you that aren't familiar with the resource management workspace, it's been released over the last few releases. It's part of the new resource management capabilities, and it's meant to kind of replace and provide additional capabilities than you have today if you're using the resource allocation workbench. So that's one of the set of new capabilities here on the resource management workspace. Then next here down under the unassigned tasks. So these unassigned tasks are basically your unassigned resource assignments using the new resource management capability. And so in the new resource management and resource assignment capabilities, there's no requesting of resource plans like you had in the legacy. Basically, they're listed here as unassigned. And so this is kind of that fulfilling that function of request listed here as unassigned. And so now at this point, you can actually edit those here as well as open up that assignment to find out more details. So those are the two new capabilities here in this release. Previously, you would come in here and click on assign, and you would assign that resource to that resource assignment. Here again, you could assign multiple people as well. So that's the updates here in the resource management workspace. Next here, if we look at the project workspace enhancements. So the new project workspace has been around probably for over a year and a half now. And The new project workspace will be the project workspace going forward. They still have access to the classic workspace. They have identified that as on the deprecation roadmap, but haven't given a final date on that. But the one thing that they've added here that was available in the classic that wasn't available in the new project workspace is the ability to do your checklists at the task level. And so one way of doing that is by clicking on a specific task here in the planning page. Then you can come over here and create different checklist items as a way to make sure you follow those steps or review those items as part of a stage gate. So you can come over here and create and manage your checklist here from the planning page. You can also drill into a specific task here and then come over here and click on the three bars here and see the checklist related here. And then you can add in your checklist here at the task level. So nice capability here that they've added here is they're kind of completing a lot of the capabilities that they had in the classic project workspace, but in the new modern interface for managing your projects. And next here, we're looking at the docs. So docs have been released over the last couple releases. My understanding just recently they released where now you can collaborate and see others that might be in working on a document. So it'll actually show you if I'm editing something on the document, it'll show someone else might be editing the same line or a different line. So you can see that as you're in managing docs. Those of you that haven't used the new docs capability, it's now available where you can export your docs into PDF. So that's a new capability. Also, if you want to be able to search docs or information in your project docs, you can do that as part of the global search. So you can search and find an information. We see organizations looking at adding in basically lessons learned template and documenting the lessons learned here. And then if you have a license, you can go in and do a global search. There's other options we'll talk about a little bit later, but you can do that global search and you can export it out to PDF. Also for this particular release, they've added in out-of-the-box capability for Project Confidential. So it's definitely something we've seen with many organizations. They want to keep certain projects confidential. And so here, when you're updating this in a project workspace or resource management workspace or strategic planning, it'll keep that project confidential in all the workspaces. And so what you can see here at the bottom is someone would come in and click on that they want to keep this one confidential. And then you name who are the users or groups that you want to be able to view this, and everyone else will not be able to view that project. So in the past, has kind of been some configuration and customization to enable that through ACLs, but now they've added this new capability. It does require advanced security project plugin to be installed for this, but a great way to keep those confidential projects confidential. So that's kind of walks us through the core capabilities that are new here with Yokohama. Before I go into the demo, just for ease of use, I wanted to talk a little about our portals here, and we'll highlight some of the new capabilities. So we have a strategic plan portal. Its ability to communicate and provide all stakeholders, regardless of a license, what your strategic plans are, your goals, and your progress against those. And that can be done here in a landscape view, as you see here, or in a portrait view. We also have our executive portfolio dashboard. We see many customers using this to share and provide that transparency and visibility across all their stakeholders in the business, across all business units. And so this is another opportunity to share the data without a license, and then be able to also use it to export things out to PDF or PowerPoint as an example. Also, we've just released a new version of this, so it's a lot easier for you to basically configure with no coding basically some of the major updates that customers have been doing, such as selecting some of the widgets that you want to display or not display, some of the sections below you want to display or not display, naming of some of those widgets as an example, the colors, loading in your logo, etc. So that's now been set up, so no coding is needed to make those type of changes. So that's there in our overall portal. Here's a larger version of that portal. And then with these portals, it allows you to have a one-click to click into our pre-formatted business case portal, the project charter, project status report. As you can see, some of the examples here, looking at it from a project status report perspective. So we can see that information here as well. So what we found with these is it really helps with adoption here by providing this full visibility across the organization. It helps the organization focus on the right initiatives to invest in, gives that visibility and transparency that stakeholders are looking for. And we see that it really rewards project managers here, as well as the organization have a consistent look and feel for status reporting. So I'm going to go into the system now. So I'm here in the strategic planning workspace, and I'm going to go in here and basically highlight creation here. Actually, I'm going to go into an existing one. So one of the new things here that we talked about earlier was the new digital product lens. So this particular portfolio plan is used that particular product lens, the digital product lens. In this particular example, I selected that we just wanted to manage the product enhancements. So I can see the product enhancements here with this. I can also then see the roadmap with this. As I mentioned earlier, since these aren't planning items, you don't see the planning state. You can't move it to prioritize to move it to the roadmap as an example. So that's one thing that's different here. But to put this other enhancement on the roadmap is similar to some of the other capabilities here on the strategic planning workspace. So I could come over here and I could look at my unscheduled items. So this is how you put these new product enhancements on the roadmap. So I can take that, I can drag and drop it over here. From there, right, I can update the overall timeline, and that's going to update the start and end dates for the product enhancements. So that's kind of how you can manage these product enhancements. Those of you that might not have used the new portfolio planning or strategic planning workspace, you can have a different view if you want kind of the card view from a Kanban perspective. So you can see that in here as well. And, you can look at from a hierarchy view. You don't see as much here in this particular example. But this is actually an important example that kind of highlights this lens. So this lens is based upon this particular application model, which, as I mentioned before, is the products found in the agile development portion of the product. And then we've got a feature here, and then from there we've got the actual product enhancement. And that's important there as I kind of describe the lenses here. Let's go in and edit this one so we can see that we used the new digital product lens. We can see here that this lens structure for a digital product is the model, the feature, the enhancement, or the work items. So basically what this lens structure typically means is that you need to have data at each one of these levels, and they need to be tied together to view the actual planning items. And so that's a key component if you're using the solution, is to make sure that you have data at all those levels. And in this case, the one we were just looking at was looking at it from a product enhancement perspective. We weren't using it here from a product idea or epic perspective. And so then we'd come over here and do next. What you can do is add additional filters. So if there's additional filters you wanted to use to filter down your product enhancements, maybe you want to filter down based on the different agile teams as an example. So you can do that. And then next over here, just like with normal portfolio plans, we get to put the name, we put in our calendar type here, start and end dates. You'll notice here that you've got the Gregorian versus physical. And so Gregorian works well here for the product enhancements. However, if you're going to be looking to use a lens that uses demands on projects and epics, and you want to use the financials, you'll need to use the fiscal period, because we all know that the financials with cost plans or budgets are based upon fiscal periods. And so you'll need to use the fiscal period type in your portfolio plans to take advantage of the new financial capabilities. So then here I click in next, and it takes us back here to where we were of the digital product plan that I set up here, and I can see the two enhancements. Just some standard things that you can do in the strategic planning workspace. Right, you can share this. You can share it with specific members or groups here. They obviously have to have a license to have access to it, but you can make them a viewer or an editor of the portfolio plan. Also, just as a brief description, these portfolio plans, think of them as containers, right? So I could have selected various filtering, and I would see specific enhancements. Someone else could create another container portfolio plan, and if they had the same search, then they could see the same items. So if they make updates to those items, you'll see it, or if you make updates, they will see it, since it is a container. Next here, I do have another one here that's highlighted from a overall planning item perspective. So this is using the new lens, and so I'll kind of walk you through that here briefly. So I'm going to edit this portfolio plan. So it's the same new digital product lens, but in this scenario, we're looking at product ideas and epics. So it basically supports both. It's not where you get to select one or the other, but it supports both there. And then from here, right, we can determine what we want to look at here. So if I have enhancements or features, right, and then I would only be looking at basically, product ideas or epics related to enhancements or features. But in this case, we're doing it just based upon the digital product. As I mentioned before, it's that application model, which is the product as a part of the agile development capabilities. So I could come over here and I could look here and see what's selected. In this case, I've selected order processing. So at that point here, I can come over and click on next. There it gives me the opportunity here to select whether I want product idea or epic. So I could, at this point, just select one or the other. So I can control that. I can have my additional filters if I'd like. And then here I'll move it to next. Same thing here as we saw before. Thing that's different here is I can actually do a scoring associated with these planning items. You can always set up your own scoring frameworks, but from an agile perspective, the WSGIF is kind of the standard scoring framework. So I can update that, and it's going to come over here into my prioritization. And so what you're seeing here is we're not seeing anything here, and we can obviously go create some new items. But one just tip is that if you happen to create items, it'll give you a message if it doesn't align to the criteria here. So it definitely has to be associated with order processing, and it has to have that hierarchical data in there as well. And then you would see the list of items here. So we can see that. If I come over here and want to look at the financials, just as an FYI, I mentioned this earlier, that you'll want to do the physical calendar if you want to do the financials in here. So that will be key, as well as you cannot include product ideas. So it would just be epics. We would have had to select not to include product ideas if we wanted to get access to the new financials. So just as an FYI there. So that kind of walks us through there using the new framework. Then if we come over here and wanted to see some of the new financial capabilities. So in this case here, I'm into another container, another portfolio plan in this case. I'm looking for the sales portfolio. I can see that I have a demand and project here. And so in this case, we've got the scoring framework. Some of you might be using, might not be using, but I'll just kind of highlight that here briefly. Right, so here out of the box, I would just say how many resources or employees are we going to be reaching with this change? What's the overall impact going to be? What's our confidence level with having a successful implementation? What's our level of effort from a t-shirt size perspective? And then as a result of that, it's going to come up with a score. You can look here and it's going to give you information on what this really means and what type of input you're giving here for the scoring framework. And right, I can do this here for all of my items. So here I could, if I wanted to, put in low here and maybe medium effort as an example, and it's going to update my overall RICE score. So you can manage that here. And if we come back over to planning, right, then it's going to give me that overall score. Then if I wanted to, right, I could then rank all my items based upon that score as an example. So here you can see I could do as a RICE score, so that combined score, or I could do from the individual components with that. And let's say if I want to do it by descending order, and so then I can update that, and it's going to basically sort everything here, and that would give me a different ranking here with my particular items. And as I alluded to before, if I do prioritize, it's going to add it to the roadmap. If it's not prioritized, it won't be on the roadmap. So I can come over here and see that I have this particular item here on the roadmap because that's the only one that's been prioritized. Some of the previous releases recently was including the capacity. And so here I can come in and look at the capacity of the team here. It's going to give me a general capacity here associated with the team. One tip here is if you're looking to scroll, kind of click into that overall banner there, and then you can scroll that way. So that's if you're struggling with scrolling, or if you want, you could click into a particular field and then just you can tab along there as well. So just note that from a scrolling perspective. So up here, you're basically seeing a heat map of your different groups or roles or skills and how much capacity you have versus capacity you don't have. And then down here, you're seeing the work items, right? And you can actually move these work items out as an example. If you want to move those out where you might have capacity, you can do that and adjust that. Here again, that's going to change your resource assignments associated with it. So don't want to get too much involved in that. But we moved it out, but we still have a gap in resources because we don't have the capacity here. We can see that we haven't really assigned team members to this group, so we're seeing no capacity overall. Now here we've got the new financials tab here. In this case, we can see that we have both of our projects here, actually our demands and projects. So we can see that information. We've got our FY25 CapEx broken down by budget, forecast, variance, actuals, and remaining. Same thing here for the labor CapEx here. So we can see that here. In this case, we're looking at it by the different cost types. So we're viewing that all here from a cost type perspective. That can be changed in settings if you want to look at it from my expense type. Also, what you can do here is you can come down in here and here with this grid now, you can look at what do I want to show here. So in this case, it's showing you all your different cost types as an example, but you know, maybe I don't want to put those in, and maybe I just want to look at those from an overall total perspective. I could do that. From a breakdown perspective, you could definitely do breakdowns, or I could hide breakdowns in there. Same thing here with the benefit breakdown if I wanted to hide those as well, and then I can apply that. So by doing that, I just have some high-level totals here, and so I can see the delta here associated with the different financial information that I've entered in across this demand and project. So that's what you can view here in the new financials tab as you're looking at getting an overall view here of your financials here, and then we see some totals over here as well. So that's kind of the core function there. Like I mentioned earlier, my assumption would be is that now that the financials are in place, then they'll be, I'm sure they're already working on it, updating the new scenario comparison, so you can start looking at that against resources and financials. So looking forward to that coming out in the next couple of releases. But that's the core summary of capabilities here. So we can come over here and click in the resource management workspace. And if I want to come over here and look at a particular team, here I can see the team members here, and I can see the heat map associated with that. I can always toggle whether I want to see the unassigned tasks below or not, as an example. And then if I wanted to go in here and look at a particular resource, as we showed on the screenshots, kind of the new capabilities here, I can open the resource assignment or open the parent. And so basically, if I'll open the parent here, it's going to open the overall resource assignment itself. And it's got it grayed out here for the type of resource assignment. Here, then it's showing me the resource allocations, the old resource plan here. And then here is showing the individual resources assignments, i.e. allocations. And we can see here's Garrett here with 1461. And if I want to look at the details there, I could open into that and look at his specific resource assignment that has been allocated to. The other option is if I just wanted to quickly go into his, I could have just come over here and click on this and say open. If I click into open, it's going to take us to that 1461 that we served before. And I've went directly right into his allocated resource allocation as part of the resource assignment. So that's that capability here. And then down below, as I showed before, I can edit the row, open the assignment here down below as I'm looking to make resource assignments. So simple set of updates there in the workspaces there. Then if I come over here to a project workspace here, I think I'm in the right environment here. So if I click on this new task, one of the new capabilities here was the checklist. So here we can see that we have a couple of items that I had created before. If I want, right, I can always create a new step here as an example. If I wanted to, I can make it required. If I want to make it read only as an example, and I can save that. Now I got 3, right? And then I can check those off as I'm going in and doing my checkpoints here for that particular task. The other thing I could have done here is if I wanted to go into the task itself, and if I wanted to go down to the full details of that task, I could come in here and look at the full task. But how I get to the checklist is I click over here on the 3 bars and I would see the checklist here. Or I could toggle over and see the attachments. So that's one of the core updates there at the project workspace. We'll come over here into the details. I think we have it in this environment. It might be the other environment here, but we'll see. So we can see down here we do have the confidentiality flag here being set, and then I can select allowed users, and then this will become only basically viewable, if you will, by the allowed users or groups that I set. So if you've had some customizations for that in the past, you can kind of now migrate here to the new solution. It does require the plugin that needs to be installed. The Project Advanced Security plugin is required for this to show up and be able to manage that here on your projects. The next thing I wanted to just highlight is our portals here. These are out-of-the-box portals that can be installed with basically installed as a matter of hours. These are scoped apps now. As we mentioned before, there's some all the major changes, or most of all the major changes you can do without any coding. So it's a quick time to value here. Also, as you mentioned, this is something that can be visible to all stakeholders in the organization without a license. So you can actually put a link of this on your Employee Center portal or your service portal, and you can then share this out to the organization. They can obviously come in here and filter down information based on these out-of-the-box fields. Just as a tip, once they actually have it filtered, right, they could save that filter. They can bookmark that in the standard browser. And so they always wanted to come in and see everything for the sales portfolio or HR portfolio. They just go to the bookmark and they would always be able to see that. They can print this as well. And we've got the roadmap here as an example here. So we've got that here. We've got the demands. We've got projects. What's also nice here too is you can come in here and select a specific project, and depending on how you want it set up, you can have it open to a project charter. So we have a nice out-of-the-box project charter layout, as well as a status report. So you can do that, or you can come over here and click into an actual demand and get access to a business case view that we have here as well. So it's just nice that the end users that don't have license can get access to all the core information they need to understand progress as well as making decisions. The other thing here you'll kind of notice is that, and we have this set up without coding, you can kind of select what type of entities you want to display. So in this example here, we're looking at some demands that are the planning items. So those are the planning item records on the actual strategic planning workspace. Versus over here on the projects, these are the projects and the execution space. Here again, you could basically toggle it over and just include the demands if you're using the core execution demands, but allows you that ability to kind of select and pick which type of records you want to display here. As it relates to your demands, projects as epics, you can actually have epics here out of the box. You can add in that section out of the box without any coding if you wanted to look at epics as well. So really powerful tool. We found that if you're to do one thing for adoption, if you can provide that visibility, use the portals and the data in your project review board meetings or even your governance approval meetings, you're going to get adoption because everyone's going to note that they have to have the data there to be visible, to review and make decisions. And so that's going to really help accelerate adoption. So next here, if I come back here into the presentation, I wanted to highlight here around some best practices. So when you're implementing SPM, and I know so I don't have a lot of time, but definitely want to do it in a phased approach is the best practice here. So you want to implement SPM in a phased approach. If you ever talk to customers, a lot of times the lessons learned is that they didn't spend enough time on organizational change. And a lot of that has to do with trying to roll out too much to the organization. So definitely a best practice to do it in a phased approach. Some of our critical success factors, focus on the outcomes you're trying to accomplish, simplify, keep it core out of the box, foundational, don't over automate. Start off with some core based metrics so you can track and see usage and utilization and use that to drive changes versus just getting random feedback. And then at the bottom here, doing your typical organizational change, which we're highlighting here, definitely a key component here of overall adoption. The next thing I just wanted to highlight is that we do have an assessment and roadmap offerings. We have from basically a free version if you wanted to have 1 or 2 1-hour discovery workshops of where you're at today. We can put together and provide you with a roadmap. But if you'd like to do a week-long or 2-week assessment and roadmap, then those are paid engagements. But we do have the ability to do quick discovery. So feel free to respond back if that's something you'd like to do. I'm just going to look at a couple of different of these roadmap examples. These are for customers that previously implemented portions of SPM and some of their kind of second phase or second wave of roadmaps. And so here we're seeing, maybe integrating in with MS Teams, the whole idea of a project charter. You can start doing the project charter in the docs capability. So that's one option for that. You saw in our solution there, we have a project charter you can make visible out to all your stakeholders. So that's another option for that. I'm just going to highlight a couple of things here since we don't have a lot of time. On lessons learned, that's where you could actually use the docs capability and do it within the project. All licensed users could search for it. But if you want to provide that visibility out to external users, what I mean by that are non-licensed users, we've seen usage of knowledge base is a good way to do lessons learned on your projects. That way you can also categorize the lessons learned in different categories so that PMs are planning in the future, they can understand those categories. So docs opportunity versus using the knowledge base. And then you'll see here doing project surveys here are key. We're also seeing organizations looking at the net promoter score type capabilities. One great way of doing that is using the monetary, non-monetary benefit plans with the goals framework. So that's a great way of doing that. Definitely benefit realization is a common second wave of activities and capabilities that you'd roll out to your organization. We do have other roadmaps here. I'm just going to use that one here for today. So as mentioned earlier, if you'd like to just do the 1 or 2 discovery workshops and would provide you with a high-level implementation roadmap, that's something we can do, and that's just something we would invest in with you. So if you're interested in that, feel free to let us know. The next thing here, just so you guys know, we have an upcoming webinar. This is what we're doing for a lot of customers right now. As you can see, they're at the tail end of making updates to the different workspaces. And so many customers are looking at how do we migrate or implement the new resource management? How do we migrate and really use all the capabilities for a project workspace or strategic planning workspace? And so we have some proven practices, some guided implementation approaches for that to make that very quick and focus more on the organizational change components of it. But there's definitely some key dependencies and things that you need to be aware of prior to do the migration. So that's definitely something that we'll be discussing in our next webinar, and definitely a service that we provide. No, just like to thank everyone for your time today. And if you have any questions, want to follow up specifically for your specific use cases, feel free to reach out, and we look forward to assisting you. So thanks again.